Hey Dan, I heard you just went to check out Sunset Overdrive.
I did.
What'd you think of it?
It was pretty cool. Yeah, I spoke to one of the devs as well, Marcus Smith, and he said something really interesting. He was like, it's kind of inspired by pinball, and I never really picked up on that.
It's a game where the gameplay is based on momentum. It was inspired a lot by Drew Murray, the game director. I'm creative director. He's game director. We came up with this baby together in a romantic way, and the idea that he had always had was games. You know, pinball games was a good example, and like the game Monster Bash in particular, it was you would build up by like unlocking this part and then this part and then this part, and then it went all crazy. And so we were saying early on we wanted to build it on momentum. And so now you start off, and as you start getting into fights, you're building up your style meter, you're unlocking amps. Amps are getting more crazy, you're building up the style meter even bigger. Now you've just got like explosions going off everywhere, chaos happening, but it's things that were a result of your input, and therefore it felt rewarding. You know, it wasn't so much just random stuff going on. It was a lot more like you did something awesome and it feels great.
It's sort of a philosophy that they're extending to the accessibility as well, where they're like, we want you to be able to jump in and start easily. But once things start getting crazy, that's where the skill kicks in. And so when they continue with their completely ridiculous theme, they're very self-referential and they break the fourth wall a lot as well.
I love a lot of games that take themselves very seriously. Like I don't want to pick on Last of Us. I love Last of Us. It's a great game. But we're kind of the opposite of Last of Us, and I feel like in a lot of cases there's games that have tried to eliminate HUD and do all these things. And you know, HUD is how you know a lot of information. So by removing it, there's that ambiguity. And for us, we embrace there's a HUD, and we call it out a lot of times, and we remind the player. The player reminds the player character will remind the player occasionally about things that are very gamey. I mean, it's an open world game, and we have fast travel. And how do we have fast travel? The player will remind you every once in a while, like, that's really far. Good thing there's fast travel.
The character is sort of like referencing the fact that he's in a video game, and it's the kind of thing that The Last of Us would never actually do.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, like, we've seen a lot of footage from the game so far. I'm actually curious to know, like, where the story will go once the game's almost reached its end point.
Right, well, I mean, like, there's this whole sort of idea that you're fighting off an infection, people who are infected with an energy drink, and he was sort of hinting at the fact that something is going to happen within the world that is going to change it structurally.
We tried very hard not to eliminate traversal elements completely. So in a lot of cases, you know, the cars will explode, but they're still bounceable. We have sections of the map that change. I don't want to give away a pivotal story moment, but there's something that happens where there's part of the environment that wasn't there before, but that's all fully traversable. So even after you finish the story mode, you can go back, and now that's a part of the world that you can traverse in. And again, it's just that constant. This is a game where designers and environment artists had to be in lockstep because you interact with the environment. So it's not so much, you know, a lot of games you build a world and then you allow the environment artist to just make it look good and make it feel lived in. And in this case, they had to do all that, but it also had to fit the traversal metrics. So this needs to be 8 meters long. I don't, figure out how to make that look good. And that is because the player needs it to be that long to know that they can land on it, grind on it, and get off in time.